I hope the angles are good because I can't see the angles. So I'm like, ah.
You look amazing. Anyway, and hi, and welcome to Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and today I am here with fitness model and world traveler. Please welcome back my friend Majestic Singh. How you doing today, Ben?
I'm all right. I am driving. I just came out of the hospital, seeing a friend who was in the hospital. Good. Also accompanied by special guest, my mother. Say hi, Mom. Hi.
Yes.
And she's my number one supporter, and like, yes.
That's amazing. Work. So, guess we're going back to the questions of that I didn't get to finish last time you were here. So, what was it like for you on your first photo shoot?
What was it like the first time I had to model?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna lie, I felt nervous because I had done like a fitness competition, and for the fitness competition I was shirtless, but for someone who's never been shirtless and like on a stage in front of people, sure I did that, but like to model, I guess I was like, I hope I look good at this. I hope I don't look stupid because I've never done it before, you know.
All right.
So I was nervous. I was like, I hope this. The photographer, he gave me a lot of direction, which was great. And at the end, when I saw the end product, I was like, wow, like I think I look pretty good modeling. I was like, maybe he was just really good at telling me what to do. And then I kept doing fitness competitions after that. And after that, I would usually be able to get like a small gig modeling something. And I was like, I think this is a good like way to hold me accountable. And I think my modeling just kept improving gradually.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of get that. You never really are like amazing at your like start of doing anything. I'll say this: I look at some of my early performances and I kind of like cringe because I'm like,
oh yeah, no. I think there's some photos out there. I'm like, in London, I told my mom like we did like group modeling, and I'd never modeled in a group before, and I was really nervous because I was like, wow, he looks great, and he looks great, and he looks great too. And I don't think I look that great. And I remember I was nervous, and some of the images they took, I'm like, please don't use that. I look so nervous in the face. I'm probably could find that photo and send it to you. I'm like, I think the body looks good, but I'm kind of like nervous in the face. It's just I was disappointed in my solo picture for that one. But it's fine. It's gonna happen. And then eventually, when I came back to do another group shoot, it was good. I think I felt really confident in what I did. And since then, I've done a few other group shoots, and I think they've gone well because of kind of like you shouldn't be comparing yourself like, oh, I look like this or I look like that. Like just I am me. I think I'm doing my best, and I'm gonna give my best. I think that's the best mentality to have.
I mean, because like the thing is, everyone's like insecure about the way that they look. Like I feel like everyone is, and if you aren't, it must be fucking nice to be you. Like, literally.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Decline a call. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're all good.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. Hold on, real quickly. Sorry, that call threw me off. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can still hear you. Work. Yeah, the modeling industry is definitely like something to where like it seems crazy, like because you always are like constantly comparing yourself to other people, but you have to realize like that you can't compare yourself to other people because
no, yeah, you cannot compare yourself to how like other people are looking. I think it gets dangerous, and I think I would say sometimes I still find myself, if I see I'm not comparing myself to white models, but I will say if I see, hold on, real quick. Decline. Hold on. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. That is my flatmate calling me from Brazil, and I already like declined, and he called back again. So I was just like, I'm in a podcast. I'm sorry. I had no idea I'd be such high demand at this particular time. But to answer your question, like modeling, not just modeling, I think the problem is that social media. We are portraying maybe our best image, which might not be us all the time, which I know that to be true. But if people are looking in it,
Right.
I think you might think like, oh wow, they look like that all the time. And it doesn't matter how often I tell you, like, no, I don't look like that all the time. This is just a good photo. This is just me posing. Poser. Hashtag my biggest, like that's what modeling is. You're just posing in a very attractive way. And I know that to be true, but even I can sometimes look at a photo from someone else. I'm like, okay, they look really good. I feel a little inadequate right now looking at that photo. And then I had to tune back and be like, no. Michael, you're great. You're great. This person's great too. You don't need to like compare.
Right. And like, this is the thing. You'll always have, well, especially now, you'll always have me to tell you that you look amazing because you do. Like, that is
No,
just
and
how I
you
will
need
be.
what
Like,
my mom tells me. I think you also really.
yeah.
It can come from many people, but you also need to tell yourself that and believe it.
Yeah.
Because that's the most power when you believe it coming from yourself. And I would say sometimes it's a colorism thing too. You know, I would say like, you know, in Asian culture, sometimes if you're as tan as myself and my mother, there's sort of this like narrative that's not a very beautiful. But you know, I would disagree. And I think back in the day, sometimes my mom's like, "Oh, you're so dark from the sun," because you know, the darker you are, it's considered unattractive. And I think that's something I've learned to like be like, "Hey, mom, like people pay money for this tan. You know, our skin is beautiful. Like, you know, I don't want to be like pearl white and sickly. It just wouldn't look good on me. So there's something about that as well when it comes to comparing. I think colorism in the modeling industry. I think that's why I'm so like down to do a modeling gig because I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm down to give some like brown Asian representation. You know, which I feel gives me like this empowerment to be like, you know, I'm not gonna judge myself against other people. I'm just gonna give my best and do my best to represent.
Yes, I mean, like, that's the thing. And to that point of colorism, it's literally why, like, Tyra Banks did so many, like, episodes on about it when she was, like, had her own talk show. Was, like, because you had so many people who were, like...
Can you speak up? Can you speak a little bit louder?
Okay, all right, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but, like, you sound distant now.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to... Okay, can you hear me now better? I pushed the mic in a little bit more.
Let me see. Let me leave and come back.
Yeah. Okay. Technical difficulties. All right. This is technology. We'll figure it out. All right.
Hello?
Okay. Can you hear me any better now?
Uh, yes, somewhat better.
Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying, yeah, I can definitely talk a little bit louder. So what I was saying was, literally, there was just so many episodes that, like, even Tyra Banks did back when she had her talk show about people of color who were like constantly just trying to like either change themselves or like just be different or be lighter. And it's like lighter isn't always like necessarily a beautiful thing. It's like sometimes you have to just embrace yourself as you are because you're not going to be able to change that. Like,
Yes,
in
although I wouldn't quote Tyra Banks though. I think she definitely that show did not age well. America's Next Top Model. I remember I used to watch it like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but yeah, you really have to embrace who you are and what makes you feel authentically powerful. You know, um,
yes, totally.
because you can't like try and be someone else because like that person already exists. There's no need to like copy or repeat who they are. And yeah, they look great, but you have the ability to look great as well.
Exactly. So, what's your favorite place to do a modeling shoot or to travel to?
Where's my favorite place to model?
Or,
I would
or
say I think my favorite place I've ever modeled was the south of France in Nice, and like that water looks like turquoise, beautiful water. I think I even called my mom. I was like, "Mom, look at this water," you know. And I just that was beautiful. Like the weather was great. Not too hot, not too cold. Just beautiful scenery, very peaceful.
it must be so nice to like get to explore the world and like explore the country like as you have. Like,
Oh yeah, this is when I was a teacher in
yeah,
London, so I was able to like
yeah.
just like hop on a plane. It was really cheap. So I've been really blessed in my careers that have let me see the world and like given me these opportunities to work with photographers. Because I mean, honestly, you know, I think people think like, oh, you're a model, making a lot of money. Like, it doesn't make a lot of money. I mean, if you really want to make a lot of money from modeling, you are like constantly work, 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 and you need to make sure that you pay attention to your physique and what you're putting into your body, how much sleep you're getting. But also, when it comes to European modeling, um, they don't need to pay an American model. You can just get a model in Europe for cheaper who can fly around cheaper. So those opportunities were specific to me because I was living in London. So it was easy for me to get to
Yes.
those things and do those gigs. But if I was living in America, there's no point in paying me because you can just get a local model who looks somewhat like me.
Yeah. And it's like I would say that it's why like I think when I'm ready to move because I figured I have like a trajectory of like when I want to move out of Florida, it's just going to be like finally it's so nice. I'm literally going to like the opposite extreme. My plan is to move to like Detroit and like everyone's like why Detroit? I'm like because it's cheap to live there. It's amazing. I've made some amazing contacts through this podcast there. It's like it's something completely different than Florida, and it's like I'm not upset to be leaving Florida at all. I actually would prefer it because I've felt very alone here, and I feel once I move somewhere else, I've already started to get like a network, which is great.
Wait, okay. I'm gonna exit real quickly and then come back in because now I can't hear you
You
again. Okay. You're gonna get a very interesting edit from this video. Okay.
and again, technical difficulties. Let me just get a drink real quick. Okay. Do do do. Oh god. Oh. God.
Hello?
Yes. You can hear me,
Okay.
right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Believe me. Not a problem at all. This is a nice awaited break. Literally, this is my second interview today, and I've literally got 3 more this week. So I'm like, all good. Bitch
Okay.
is keeping themselves busy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so
Okay.
sorry, and it was I didn't think I had to tell people that I had like this scheduled. I'm just used to being on my time, but I guess you wouldn't realize. I was like, look, when I get there, I'm sorry, I love you, but like it's been like drive as I have this podcast interview, so they have to be on timely. I already told
Yeah.
my sister, so but I think she's like, you didn't have time to say hi. I was like, yeah, because the interview has started now. So,
Yeah.
so but yeah, back onto it.
Don't worry,
And
believe me. Yes.
I'm wearing a shirt. Look at that.
Believe me, I just most of my guests wear shirts. Literally, this is the thing. It's like I get the hottest people in the world, and all of a sudden they're all clothed. Like I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, but no, I'm kidding. It's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
So what was I saying? Oh, yeah, saying so like I'm like, yes, out of Florida, thank God. Like, hopefully by June, because I've just hated
I'll
it
play by
here
June.
forever. I'm planning on moving to Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes, it's like it's nice. It's like it's cheap. I'm planning on releasing an album this year, so like it'd be a nice way for me like be able to afford to go in the studio and afford rent at the same time. Like, yes,
I want that.
it's
Good.
about yeah. It's literally the polar opposite of Florida, and I'm like I am looking forward to that because
Well,
I've never really
congratulations then.
felt. Thank you. I've never really felt at home in Florida. It's like, granted, I've lived here my whole life. I've just never felt at home. Like, if that makes any sense, it's like,
No, it does. It
you,
makes you feel like you don't feel like that's the place where you want to thrive or that you're able to thrive,
no,
and you feel
no,
that, and so that's why you're like,
yeah. And I've made some amazing contacts through this podcast where it's like, they've literally said, like, Detroit's going to welcome you with arms. And I literally just interviewed a drag queen in Detroit yesterday. And it's like, she was saying all this stuff, and she seems like she's really excited for me to come to Detroit, which I'm like, that to me seems like amazing because you do not get that in Florida. You get a bunch of people like, girl, we don't want you here. Yeah.
well, good. I'm glad that you're going to go to a place where
Yeah.
you can thrive, and the fact that you feel that you can thrive there will give you the power to thrive there. Because if you believe
Yes.
something, I would say that the more you believe in it, the more power it becomes true.
Totally. And it's like, in some ways, okay, I don't mean to pry too much, but is it like because of you? Is it because of like your recent like relationship situation? Is that why you kind of went like home just for like a little
Oh,
bit?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say, I mean, I have still been doing my career,
Yeah.
um, but at times, like, I mean, I have my responsibilities too. I'm always home to look after my mother, but I would say that being
Yes.
home, like, I'm able to manipulate my schedule, but the way I've been able to
Yeah.
manipulate it, it's been nice to be home to, you know, kind of like recover in a way. I guess I just kind of fell in love with I don't want to say a bad man, but I fell in love with someone who was troubled, and I thought that, the love that I had for them and the love they have for me would be strong enough, and love is not enough,
No.
especially when, especially when like there's, addictions involved, and I guess this is where I got like a reality check of like, I don't even want to say it's gay world. I would say it's really strong in gay world, but like I got a glimpse of like how bad some drugs can be for people and what it does to them, and what trauma can do to people when left unchecked. It was just, if I could just do it on a snapshot, because I've been told very clearly by my ex-fiance to leave me out of anything. He's like, leave me out of any social media post. Don't refer to me. Don't talk about me at all. He was
Yeah.
like, he was like, be careful what you say and how you say it. So I'm gonna just talk about how I felt like,
Yeah.
I felt like I had like these wings, and I wouldn't say I'm an angel from heaven. I would just say I just felt like more. I felt like it was powerful. I had like these wings, and I felt like love and light, and that's who I am. That's what I embody. And I felt like after this relationship, I felt like I felt like I got my wings cut off. Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Maleficent. I feel like
Yeah.
got my wings cut off, and I feel like I'm back on my horse, helping me get there, and I still have powers, just not as powerful as I used to be. But that's because I haven't made it to the other side yet.
No, it's
Um,
yeah,
the wings will grow back.
it's you'll yes, like that's the thing. And sometimes like granted they always say like heartbreak is the hardest. Like but it's like everything needs to happen. Like and sometimes you want to rush things. Like in terms of me going to Detroit, I'm literally like I'm planning on moving in June, but it's like I'm the person who wants to go like now. And as somebody pointed out to me, they're like, everything's gonna happen in time. But it's because like even like living at home, it's weird. I like live with my dad, but I've never felt more isolated in my life. Like, and it's in some ways like I'm working through it because it's like this is what I do to like have interpersonal connections with people because it's like granted there's always like as a songwriter there's always like a healthy amount of isolation that you need to isolate yourself sometimes to create but it's like when you're in it for too long it's you start to feel sad but I don't honestly feel sad until like sometimes I like stop and then like that's when I realize that like as I've explained to people, it seems like insanity because it's like I'm interviewing people like you who are like out there living in the world, and it's like in some ways, in the back of my mind, I feel like I'm stuck, but at the same time, it's also like I know I'm making moves to leave.
Yeah, no, and everyone's at a different pace. That's why you really, I think it's not healthy to compare ourselves to other people and also compare what
Yes.
we are seeing. Like, I think my past relationship, people would look at us and they're like, you guys look so perfect. And I think what you should, when someone tells you, you look so perfect, or you guys look so perfect, I think you can say thank you, but you can also say, like, that's a really good picture, but like, we were working on it. Well, we were trying to work on it, you know? Um, but I don't think anything's perfect. And I think that's a really dangerous word. I think it's perhaps I don't know, no, I don't know how we should say things, but like, you guys look great together. You know, maybe that's
Yeah.
a better word. But I think when people say things like you look perfect, or like I wish I could have that, it puts this pressure that on you, thinking like, wow, these people think I've got it, and I really don't. But also, I think people putting pressure on themselves, like, ah, I wish I had that. But then when I feel this pressure that when I see my relationship fail, that people might feel like, oh, great, Michael can't have it. That means I'm not going to get it either. I don't want people to think like that, but I can see how we look at celebrities. And I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but I'm saying how we look at celebrities. Like, okay, it must be hard. I think to myself, like, you know, Taylor Swift people are like hating on her because she's in this healthy relationship, but people are like they're making it about her and not Super Bowl, and I'm just like, dang, what do you want her to do? Like she's in love, like it's not, you
Yeah.
know. Or Jennifer Lopez putting all this part like, oh wow, this is like her fifth marriage. I'm like, you really can't look. It's like that's why I'm great with the opportunities that I get, but I feel like I used to want to do reality TV. Like I think I'd be a great candidate for like reality TV dating. But then I think to myself, you know what? Maybe not. I've noticed that the more traction I get, perhaps the more opportunities I get, maybe the more attractive I look. Um, I feel like this window begins to kind of close in, and then there's a lot of people looking into. I think maybe the next person I date, I don't even think I will put them up in a picture anymore. I feel like I don't even want anyone to know unless you like know me personally when you meet them. That's how I feel about my
Yes.
love life.
See,
Um, I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I'm not even a celebrity. I just feel like I don't. Maybe I just don't want people to. They don't need to know
No,
because I feel like I thought
the only thing that's perfect, I actually just wrote a song about this, is the delusion that you put out to people, the like perfectness of what you delude people into believing is actually your life. Like, that's the only perfection that there is. It's not what is actually what happens. And it's like,
it's not the
sometimes
reality.
you, yeah. And it's like, sometimes, what was it? I was just talking to my friend about this, where it's like, I say, I want nothing more in the world than anyone. Like, anyone who's been on this podcast, especially who's been like multiple times, like, I want nothing more than for you to be happy. But I'm also the person who's like, this is just the kind of person I am. If you were to break, I also want people to know, like, I'm here for you if you can break. Like, that's, and a lot of people aren't like that, because like, I look at so many other podcast hosts and why people like, this is gonna sound a little bit narcissistic, but I don't care. It's like, I have a way of like opening up to people and making them know that I'm here, because I want to be here. Like I consider you my friend. I don't want to see you like upset and like failing. That's not. I'm not that kind of person who's like, I'm dealing with my own problems, I can't help somebody else. No, you can always listen to somebody else's problem, of course. Like, just because you're
I mean,
dealing
if
with
you
your
have,
own shit doesn't mean
I
I'm
think
gonna.
I get you. I think it's also about like capacity. I think like you can. I feel like I never want to make someone feel like they're taking on my problems. I feel like everyone's got a
Yeah,
challenge that we all face on a daily basis that we're going
right.
through. And I also don't want to diminish someone else's. I don't want, I felt sometimes I can also feel like, oh, maybe mine are not that difficult compared to other things that happen in this world. But I think I just always try to find a way to express how I feel today and practice gratitude. And for example, my friend today, she's got both legs amputated, and I wanted to just go see her. And I just
Yes.
when I was talking to her, I was like, I'm sorry I didn't reach out sooner. It's just that I felt like I was just sort of like in a daze, you know. And sometimes I just can't be around people sometimes. People that I don't know because I just don't know if I have the capacity to be present. And when I talked to her, I was like, I just had to come see you because you know, not only do I miss you, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. And I didn't know the severity of the situation because I thought that maybe it was like a foot that got amputated or a toe, but it was both
Yeah.
legs. And when I saw her, she was like so full of energy, and we were able to catch up, and she's just like uplifting. So in this case, it wasn't about her problems or my problems being greater than the other. It was just that we're both in a different spot in life and really there for each other.
Yes.
And I think that's true love, like real love. They're not going real loving friendships and family and people that accept you are not going to diminish your problems. You're not going to diminish theirs, and you're really able to like lift each other up despite like, wow, I'm a little bit wounded right now. I know you're wounded too, literally, and you're still lifting me up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I could still lift you up as well. And that's how I was able to see her because it gave me the strength to wake up a little bit more and be like, this person doesn't need you, but being there for them would be uplifting to them, and I think it'd be uplifting to yourself as well. Which I think is like
Yes.
part of the healing process.
Yeah. And it's also, in some ways, you also can't fault yourself, because it's like, it takes a lot to like stop, especially in like this go, 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 like way of living life. Sometimes you have to like consciously like take time to like step out and like check in.
Yeah, check in, but also like people might be like, "Oh wow, you're saying this, but you went on a gay cruise." Like I went on this gay cruise because 13 of my friends, my tribe, were like, "Come with us." These people are like uplifting. Like when we're together, we're like the Spice Girls. You know, the energy I give them, they give me, and they're like, "It's 14." Like they're like, "It's a week thing. We're gonna go to everything together. You're never gonna like. We are here for you." You know, like it gave me like this pat. Like I knew what the themes were. And if I didn't like it, I could just go back to my room. But I know one of them was gonna like check on me because constantly they're like, where's Michael? How is Michael doing? You know?
Yes.
But also I was checking on them like, oh, where are they? Are they okay? Like I was only able to do that because it was those 13 people. And wherever we went, yes, we were together as a walking in as a tribe. And I don't think I had danced in that way. Like when I say I'm like I'm in love again, well, I could dance again. Feeling dancing is expressive and therapeutic, and I don't know, just the way I was moving, it was coming from my heart, and it was great to be around them. That was energizing, and that's the only reason I could go was because I was with my friends. Like, had I been by myself, I don't think I know for a fact I would not have gone. But being in that experience with them was like making these memories, and that helped remind me to be in the present in the moment. And being around people who are loving and supportive and genuinely kind, you know, that was a great moment. It made me feel like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
But again, when things from the past, again, I don't want to say specifically, but when things from the past come back and remind you, you know, about the pain, it kind of like shot me down again a little bit.
And
Um,
also healing doesn't always have to happen at home. Like that's something that people think is like you have to be like take time to like think and reflect and relax and be there and sit there and pine and do all this. And I'm like, but that doesn't help you. That doesn't like
yeah,
I'm not saying you just like move on immediately, but it's like at some point you have to like move on. You can't just like be stuck in this place because if you're stuck in that place, all you're gonna do is you're gonna make yourself more upset, and it's not gonna make you take one step forward. It's gonna make you take 8 steps backwards. Like
no, and
it's that
that's why I say
simple.
like, I felt empowered to go and to go with them. And what I would say is, if you really do connect with people, you'll notice that we're all going through some sort of healing process or reflecting on some kind of pain. And then you realize that you're not alone, because when I was with
Yes.
them and like I saw my friend today, she's like, "You're not alone." And they were like, "Michael, you're not alone. You have us." And that's a really powerful piece because they're like, even though I'm going through some painful stuff, I'm still here for you.
Yes.
And that's a really powerful thing because I don't feel alone. I'm not going through this journey by myself. Um, and that's really helpful. I'm not gonna lie because I think it can be really easy to feel like you're the only person with these problems, or that your problems don't really mean anything because the world has these other things happening and you kind of like diminish your own needs. But the thing is, yeah, the world has things happening. What am I doing to either help or hurt the world or myself?
Yeah.
And the best thing that we can do is continue to live our lives in a healthy, happy way and do things that give us purpose,
Yes, and it's also
and my purpose is clearly my family, but also making sure I put a good message out there. That's why my message is like about like healing and love and reflecting. Like I'm always trying to put out this thing of like life can be tough. People can be part of. My recent post was like, people letting go is letting know that people are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny.
yes.
And
And
Yeah,
it's
and
yeah, it's almost, at least the way I look at it from my life, when you talk about this, like even this like small isolation problem I've had, it's like I look at it as I'm grateful. Like I'm grateful for everything I had. As I've told people on here, it's like as I said, I'm approaching 30, and it's like that to me seems crazy because it's like if you had asked me at 22 if I was gonna make it to 30, I would have been like hell fucking no, because I literally genuinely thought I was gonna be dead by now. So it's like just getting the chance to be like stronger and like come out there, and it's like in some ways I'm grateful that I did make it here because it's like I met amazing people. I've met you. You're like one of the most, I would say this, like, and I do mean this, you're genuinely like one of the sweetest people that I've met on this podcast, like from doing this. And like, and it's this
well, I think
was
the
what,
world is still a kind place. It is.
yeah.
We just have to keep making the right choices about who we let into our lives and who we surround ourselves with. That I believe to
Yes.
be true.
I know we got a little deep. So with my next question, I'm gonna lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So have you ever hooked up on a flight while you were working?
Oh, on the plane?
Yes, on the plane.
Oh my God, no. Hard no. First of all, I would say they do not clean the planes thoroughly enough to do that. Plus, I wouldn't want to be sacked. No. I'm like, no, this person, if they were that eager, they could just take me out, like, they could meet me later on off the plane. I know.
See,
If anyone's watching this, like, oh, how boring. No, hard no.
well, see, my thing is, I feel like I was just putting it out there. I feel like that's one of those fantasies that sounds like a really, really good idea in theory, but when you think about it in execution, it's like it's small, it's cramped, it's like if
I
you're
used to
not
be a
like
science
choosing,
teacher. I used to be a science teacher. There are poo particles and urine particles on those walls.
I wasn't even thinking
No.
about that. I was thinking of like
I'm thinking about that. I'm like horrified. I'm like, sir, you like, no, are you kidding me? No, no. I don't even care. I don't even care if it was Chris Hemsworth or Michael B. Jordan who asked me. I'm like, you kidding me? In the bathrooms, in the loo, you want me to do that there in the loo? I'd be heartbroken because I'd like, man, with all this money, and you're asking me to do it in such a vile place. Disrespected. Number two, losing my job or something like that. No, this man does not care about me. But that's I'm processing. Why does some people are like, oh yeah, totally, but I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't fit
and
with me.
and also like I mean, I was just asking that thing because it's a curious thing, but you're not a small person either. Like you're at
I mean,
least
I'm a
like
short
5'11".
king.
You're not short, are you?
I'm a short king, yeah. Okay, this oh
Oh.
five. I'm 5'6". Dun dun dun.
See, I definitely would not have thought that. Like I would have thought you were like closer to like, I don't know, 5'10", 5'11". Like
That's the perks of being able to model. You just put one foot in front of the other, elongate the body. I'm 5'6".
because that's the thing. That's I would never do that. I'm 6'3". No. Like no, logistically this is not, maybe in a private plane, but definitely not in a commercial plane.
Yeah, no. But the answer would be yeah, no. I'm like, sir, there are better places, better times. Time and a place for everything.
Work. So, would you ever consider doing OnlyFans?
What I consider. um, if I wasn't in the career I was in, if I maybe was like, I don't know, uh in a different career that couldn't like be like bothering me and trying to trace me. Um, Perhaps, I feel like my friends and family would be supportive, but I would also have to make sure like what is my clear vision? What is my long-term plan doing this? How long can I do this for? Um, like you got to think like what is the end goal? What are my steps to take? Because if you're gonna do something like that, that is your career, and you're gonna be constantly trying to collaborate, work, be creative, very creative process. What you're gonna be doing, how you're gonna be doing it, who are you working with next week, months from
Right.
now. I mean, it's constant content, But also, you want to be exciting with your content, but you also want to be like, what does your audience want? And how long can you be entertaining like that? Because it's it's not as easy as it looks. From I have friends that do it, and like
Yeah.
you're always pushing the envelope. So I would say like if I felt like I was in a different career, because I would get sacked if I was doing that.
Yeah.
Um, but also if I felt like I could make it work, but I don't know that you can make lots of money and you can definitely get really famous, but it's gonna be a lot of work.
See,
And like how long? Yeah.
my whole thing with it is, obviously I've thought about doing it before. This is my reasons for not wanting to do it, because I don't want to have to sit here and be like the person when I'm trying to make music. All of a sudden, everyone's like, "I want you to take me seriously as an artist," but I just saw you getting fucked on OnlyFans by this guy. But no, I'm a fucking artist. Like, it shouldn't matter what I've done in
But
the
you're allowed to have both. Yeah, like I mean,
yeah,
and I think that people don't realize that I'm like, you know, y- you're an artist, you're making
yeah,
an income, and I think people will obviously dangle that over you.
yeah,
Um, and that's another thing you have to be prepared for that if you enter into a future relationship with someone, if they're not okay with that and that bothers them, then well, that bothers them.
yeah. I mean, like, literally, the thing I have to think of is like, shit. I literally just did a Twitch stream about like 2-3 weeks ago, and like, I was wearing like a t-shirt dress and combat boots, and I like bent over at the wrong angle, and I happened to be like wearing a thong, and like my ass was shown, and somebody was like, "You did that on purpose." It's like no. It's like I wasn't thinking about this, but it's like, even if so, I showed you my ass. Big fucking deal. In some ways, I want to turn around and be like, "You're welcome. You got you got to see my fucking ass for free. You're fucking welcome." Like, I do. I don't know. I have that take charge, and I have that like thing of it's like I don't give a fuck what you're gonna say. I'm gonna like own it, and like
Uh-huh.
if you like it, you like it. If you don't, it's like, well, too late. It already happened.
And that's good. It's good that you take ownership of it.
Yeah,
That's you holding you're holding yourself accountable. There's nothing like you getting what you said you were gonna give.
yeah. Plus, like that's why. What is it? Going back to this album, like I've said, there's like two different versions of like. So I want to have like certain religious imagery and music videos, and I'm like, there's what Sam Smith and Little Nas X are doing, which is like they're just intentionally being shocking just to be shocking. And then there's what I want to do, which is essentially talk about my religious trauma and somehow combine sexualism in that. It's like literally, I'll just go through
So
this
you're trying to do like Madonna's like a prayer.
almost. I would say I'm going of extreme above Madonna's Like a Prayer. So it's like, obviously, when I came out, I was locked in a mental institution. So
Didn't
it's
she
like,
have like a music video though? Her video was like it's like Black Jesus and she has sex with him in that music video, like a prayer.
she kisses him. She kisses him. That's all she does.
I thought she had sex with him.
I
Let
don't
me
know.
rewatch that video.
I don't know. My friend Benji's in the chat, and he's a huge Madonna fan. Benji, she just kisses him, right? Hopefully he's still there, because I need an answer for this. Because as far as I remember, she just kisses him. But anyway, to my idea, it's like so anyway, and then all of a sudden you like transport me out of this mental institution, and I'm in a church, and I'm with these two sexy Latino backup dancers, and we're like making out on the altar, and like at one point they like bend me over the kneeler and they simulate fucking me, and then like all of a sudden they pour gasoline in the church, and then one of them throws a lighter and the church sets on fire, and we're dancing in the parking lot. Like that's
You want to get banned. That would get you banned on TikTok. Because some people would be like, well, why are they
yes,
Latino? Why are we burning down religious establishments? But like, when you're being
of
a
course,
creative artist,
yes,
you don't.
of course I want to get bans. Like I'm surprised I haven't gotten banned yet with my mouth. Like that day's that day's coming. Actually, no, actually, to my friend Benji, when we did an interview, I posted a clip to TikTok and it got banned for literally like talking about like drugs and alcohol, and I'm like, this was not in this context at all. But if you want to
Oh yeah, that's
manipulate it, like
that's why I'm very careful, like how you say things, what you're referring to. You cannot, which is kind of weird to me because I feel like how are you supposed to help people? You cannot refer to specific things because I think it just picks up words and then, like you mentioned that word, banned.
but to me, it's almost like, granted, yes, I understand TikTok is a private company, but I'm also like, don't we have the First Amendment in this country?
Yeah, we
Freedom of
do, but also
democracy.
but like if you even mention, which is weird because like if I said, um, which you can just edit this. Is this live right now? It's live.
Yes, yes.
So, well, okay, if I mention certain drugs that are really dangerous and bad for you and why they're bad for you, I feel like you might get banned. Even though I'm saying don't do these drugs, don't do them. And if you know people who do them, like you need to find help for them and get them help. Otherwise, run far away from them. But I can't even mention the drugs because if you look them up, it's very difficult to find them. Like it sends you like here are resources for these. Like if you need help, like I'm like I need to find out what does this thing do to you? What does this thing do? You really have to like filter through
Yes.
to get clear, concrete evidence.
And that's also like problematic because like with that you're not allowed to mention stuff. At some point it's almost like we're supposed to be educating people. Like that's if we have knowledge about something, we should put it out there. Like it shouldn't be like
I know.
this.
So I would say this if I could put it out there like certain drugs, for example, one that starts with H and one that also starts with M. They burn holes in your brain. Stay away from them. Just because people do these things, these drugs that again start with an M and start with an H to help them feel a certain sort of like euphoria. And the problem with doing that is that it because it's burned holes in your brain, it also messes with your dopamine levels and your ability to feel pleasure because you're doing them to escape a sort of pain. So because it messes up with that your neural pathways, you begin feeling addicted to want to do it again because you want to feel that dopamine high. So if you don't get this drug that starts with an M or this drug that starts with an H, you will turn to other things such as maybe weed, alcohol, or pain meds, which can sort of numb you,
Okay.
combining all three. So, and when you do these drugs, again, that start with an M and an H, if you're suffering from anxiety and depression, you might think this might help you, but it doesn't. And I would say, I don't know this from firsthand experience. I know it from being in an intimate connection with someone who was suffering from those things. And I wasn't even allowed to bring it up in like in counseling. Wouldn't let me bring it up. I was like, please, can we do rehab? Wouldn't do rehab. I was like, we can get help. Like, we've got a good support system. Please, like, we can. I wasn't allowed to. And that's the really sad part. Like, you can Google how to tie a tie. I can't Google how to help my partner get into rehab. How do I help them um, break this habit? What are the things I can do? Like, it's just, I,
It's with drugs is like I've heard this. Drugs is like one of the hardest things to help people break because it's almost like in some ways you have to, at least this is how I've known former drug addicts speaking about it. It's like you have to really, really, really hit rock bottom before you're willing to accept help. And
I thought they had hit rock bottom, but I felt like, I felt like, hey, I love you. I'm here for you. We can do this together. You're not alone. I accept you. I don't look down on you. We're all humans and everyone needs help. Like, let me help you. You would help me.
it's hard. It's like I never thought I was gonna turn to drugs, but there were plenty of days in my like early 20s where I would wake up every morning and think, wouldn't it be so much better if I was drunk right now? Like,
And see, I've never
it's
felt that way. But hearing you say that breaks my heart. And that's how I felt in this connection I had with this person. It felt like I felt powerless to help them change their mindset that we can get through this together, that you're not alone. And you're right. People have to hit rock bottom and come to that realization themselves and be open to that love and help.
yeah.
You cannot force that love and help on them.
And I say like what it came to for me is I would say like being an artist, being a creative, being the like musician that I am. So many people think like actually, I'm gonna break this stigma right now if anyone thinks this. If anyone thinks being a musician is fucking easy, no. It's like, yes, the art that people get to make from dealing with stuff in life is beautiful, but it's like, at least for me, a lot of my like music has come from pain. So it's like, yes, this may be a beautiful song for you to hear, and you might love the way that this beat sounds over the like over and over again and this like electronic music, but it's like no. When you
I
look
mean,
at
I don't think it's easy to be a musician, but I can see if people are looking at someone creating something, saying that's easy to do, they're misguided
yeah.
because they don't know about the process and where it's coming from.
Mm, okay, yeah, I totally can see that. And I have like I would say this as someone who's been both raped and sexually assaulted. It's like when people look at that and they're like, "Oh my god, that's two bad things that happened to you." But it's like, yeah, but I learned a lot about myself, especially when I got sexually assaulted, because I got sexually assaulted like 3 years after I was raped, and I learned something from that where it's like, I will never let myself be a victim again, and that's something where people feel like, oh, that's got to be so like I don't want to say easy, but it's like that's something you should have known from the beginning. It's like, but were you there? Like, it's like it's a lot easier to like tell somebody, oh, you shouldn't have like gone with that person. You shouldn't have let that person like go in your car. You shouldn't have like done all this. But it's like when I was sexually assaulted, I was like confused and I was like trying to think of the moment of I don't want to get stabbed or shot. So it's like this person entered into my car. And now the safest thing for me to do is to drop them off wherever the fuck that they want because they're already in my car. So it's like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
No, and you cannot when you're confessing a trauma,
Yeah.
I think when people are like, well, what did you do to put yourself in that situation? You know, that really diminishes what you're going through because it's a fight or flight response that you're having. You're like, if I don't do what they tell me to do, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I don't have the means right now to fight back, so I can't really do fight. This is my best way to do flight.
Yeah.
And I think also people sometimes, not to justify them, have I guess, their own traumas or experiences. So when they tune out in that kind of way, it's because they just can't handle that capacity, which doesn't make it right, but also like it's not good to just diminish someone else's experience just because you yourself don't want to be open to what's happening around you. But I
Yes.
love that you said that you cannot be a victim. I think you posted like, don't be a victim of your trauma. Or don't let yourself be imprisoned by it, which is true
No.
because when you allow yourself to be a prisoner of your trauma, you find yourself just going back to it because it's what you're familiar to.
Mm-hmm. It's what
And it's what you expect, what you're used to.
for me it was with that, as you said that. It was for me, it was one thing that I learned, dude. It was like for me was calling my rape. It's like because so many people want to be like you taking advantage of all this. These are terms that like the media tells you to like put this out and like kind of in some ways, this is at least how I view it, whitewash what happened to people. And I realized I'm like, and this is maybe why a Main Street door would never be open to me because it's like I'm the person who's saying if I was raped, I'm gonna say that I was raped. I'm not gonna say that I was taken advantage of because it's like that makes it sound in some ways microscopic.
You're making it lighter. And the
Yeah,
words,
yeah,
and that's the thing, like when you speak your truth and how you say things, you should be able to say what you're really feeling and what it really was to you, what it is. And when you do that, um, people will, again, based off how they've grown and healed as a person, their values, will either like, oh, tune out, don't believe what you're saying, you did this to yourself, or they will be like, I feel empowered by what you're saying. I feel that too. I've seen that too in myself, the people that I love. Or they're gonna be like, what you're saying is coming from a place of pain, and I'm here for you. How did you make it
yes,
through that? How can I help you through that? Continue to help you through that. Um, because you're right, the media was still not in a place where I feel also too, if you do talk about, I feel like again, you can also get banned, even though you're speaking the truth,
yeah,
because the topic is so, I guess, heavy that they're like, almost like these are real things happening in the world. Um, how do you expect people to fully heal if you don't let them speak their truth
exactly,
or the reality? So,
exactly. It's something you have to let people because for so long they let people silence things that happen, and you have literally former presidents who are now trying to be current presidents again, who like have done this stuff, and by people not saying that these people or that these people should get away with it just because they're political figures or former political figures. And it's like, no, just
No, I
because
agree.
they they they're like in the White House and you like have half the country sitting there fighting for this person to come back. It's like at some point I feel like the media doesn't ask the questions that somebody else should, which is instead of like just pointing this out to people, it should be like, what if it were you? And you had to see one of the most powerful men in the world, or see someone be elected to like one of the most powerful positions in the world. Again, it's like it's sad enough that he was already there once, but it's like forget the like political parts of it. You're literally letting a rapist in the White House. Like it's just to me that's kind of a mess. And it's like in some ways it takes fucking drag queen bitches like me to point out the obvious. Because like the mainstream news won't do it. They're gonna point out the fact that he was racist and all of this other shit. It's like, no. This is what you should be saying. Is that a rapist is trying to get into the White House again. That's all you have to say. Because when you put that fact in people's faces, it's granted. Are you going to change everybody's mind? No, of course not. Because there's some people who are just in such a cult-like mentality that they're not going to be able to ever flee from the person. They're going to treat them like a god. But it's like you're going to get some people who be like, wow.
I mean, I would say
Yeah.
people know the truth, and people who know the truth and don't want to acknowledge the truth also exist. But I would say, like, what you're saying, Instagram picks up on this and be like, all right, we're not going to push this out because he just made a huge statement, or accusation, and we're not push this out any further. Just
Yes.
because even though that is based off the evidence we've seen of women coming forward, which I believe that these women are speaking the truth, and it's a lot of courage to speak your truth out of fear of how
Yes.
people will retaliate against you. Um, and it's unfortunate because I don't know what kind of message we're sending if we're saying like certain people can do things and get away with it,
Yes.
and that's a horrible message to send because I would never want anyone to harm anyone I love, or feel treated like they were just I just something I don't know how to phrase it. I would never want anyone I love to feel like used by someone, and to see someone take a position of power that has wronged people, um, that's hard because you're like, how is this happening? You know? But I hope that people do wake up and make a choice for who they think will be, you know, best serving the country. I think it just seems like right now I don't really like to pay attention to too much news because you can have information
Yes.
overload. Um,
Right. Totally.
and I'm aware of what's happening.
Yes.
If we're really being on, like, look, I'm aware of that. For example, like the moon, parts of it are turning red because the pollution from Earth is hitting the moon. That's why, okay, which is not good. If even the moon is being polluted by Earth. We're also looking at like Antarctica, certain plants that haven't grown in a while. That's because of greenhouse gases. We don't. That's not a good thing that we have plants growing in Antarctica because, like, for example, Earth needs a huge ice cube. Antarctica is a huge ice cube. If it all melts, Earth's water, like our oceans, we will boil to death. That's a reality.
Yeah.
But
You're
people will say like, well, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die anyway. So I'm just I'm like, okay, well, could you at least pay attention to politics to help the world that we're living in now? Do you know what I mean? So I think people just it's about what kind of scope they want to like tune into. Like, am I aware of these things? Yes, I am. Do I think about them on a daily basis? I try not to, but I do my best to keep living my best life and be a healthy person and do my own duty to help the world be a better place.
It's almost like to that point. It's as you're pointing this out, where like it's almost like in certain parts of the country, in certain parts of America, I don't think if you think that you should be able to like argue that climate change is a real thing, here's like the greatest example of why anyone in Florida should not be able to argue that climate change has happened. On Christmas Day this year, it was 78 degrees outside and it was raining in December. Usually around
Yeah,
that time of year in Florida, it's in the 40s or in the like low 50s. It was 78 and raining. How
I
can
just
you
don't think
argue that
people.
it's not a thing?
I don't think people when you say climate change or when you say
Yeah.
like global warming,
Yeah.
I don't think people understand necessarily what that means. I think you have to be very like surface level with people. Be like pollution bad. Pollution comes from these things.
Right.
And if you be like, here's Earth. Here's Earth in a stove. Here's like we have ice, right? The ice is if you left like I don't know, a ball and like in the water and then you had the ice cube and it was boiling on the stove and you had a lamp, people will need to see that if we don't stop the pollution, the ice will melt, the water eventually boils down to nothing, and the ball that's in that pot on the stove is going, well, it's not going to be a happy ending. That's what global warming is.
Okay.
Because when you have the sun's rays hitting on like if you I want that visual like if you have a
Yeah.
like a pot and you have like a ball in there with
Yes.
water boiling and you have an ice cube, eventually the ice cube will melt, and then it will begin to boil, and then it will boil away. That's the kind of visual people need. And it's like this is happening to us like now. But I
Right.
think people are like, oh, this is just like weather, it's Mother Nature, it's God's will, you know. It's also us.
Okay.
So, but do you see that visual? Like immediately, like I used to teach science, and as soon as I tell
Yeah.
them like this is what's happening to us, with
Yes.
when it melts, that means the Earth's ice cube is melted. Like we can't just freeze it back up. There is no freezer to make it freeze up again.
Also, this is the I'm gonna put it in like you just gave a great example, but I'm going to simplify it even more for people than this. As a drag queen today, I was putting on my makeup in an air conditioned building and I was sweating as I got in here in February. This should not be happening. Like, I should not be sweating in the middle of February putting on my makeup. Like,
I know, I mean, no, it's true. I mean, even places in
yeah,
Europe, like aircon is like a luxury of the
yeah,
Western world. In many parts of Europe, they actually don't have aircon.
yeah.
And they're getting to the point now in the summertime where like they can't really live like that anymore because it's just too hot.
People are dropping dead. I've heard about this. Like,
Yeah, no, in London they'd be like, stay inside, put the shades down, cool off, hydrate because it's just too hot, and no amount of going to the shade is going to help you because it's just that hot. So,
see,
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
right.
Like in this world, we do our best to educate ourselves and hopefully give, the right information to people as well. And hopefully people are looking at the information they're getting and also thinking like, I think a smart person will look at one point of view and look at other points of view and look at the research behind it, where is this evidence coming from, and make their own informed decision.
Yes.
you know. But I think, like for example, I have a family member who just likes to look at what they see on Facebook,
Oh God.
which I'm like, okay, that's not, that post is someone's opinion. That is not, that, right? Like, you know that, right? I told them, like, that's an opinion. That's not factual. Like, that wasn't from like a scientist or like, I don't know, a politician or like a researcher or like a doctor. Like, no, that's someone's feelings. So that's an opinion. That's the real scary thing because like, I think for me, I'm like, okay, what website is this from? Where did they do this research? Where did they get this information from? What year did this take place? I'm thinking like, but not everyone's thinking like that. I think they're just thinking like, oh, I agree with that, and that's true. That opinion might seem true, but that does not mean it is a fact.
See, going to this point. I miss the days back when the less evolved people thought that
I don't
the
say that.
internet was just for porn. I miss those days. Like we need to go back to those days. Yes, the internet's just for porn. Like don't go looking on Facebook for anything. It's all porn.
I mean, I will say that person who, what's his name, Mark Zuckerberg, like he created Facebook, like it was just for people in college, and then they're like, well, it should be open to everybody. I think it's definitely caused, I don't know, disarray. And I think I saw someone, he was getting in trouble because he was saying like the kind of information he was allowing out there, what he was censoring and what he was not censoring, I think contributed to that, what happened on January 6th.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, I think about that too, and it's like, that's something that I think another big thing is like AI too. I think that Taylor Swift's because I think someone made like AI porn with Taylor Swift, and now because of that, now it's been taken, which is it's a serious thing because I'm just like I shouldn't have had to take that. That's another thing we have to worry about. Great. So now I'm just gonna AI myself and make myself look like something I'm not. But also, if I want to damage someone, I'm gonna AI them doing stuff and be like, look at them doing this. So technology, we're like getting into like a really murky thing now. I'm like, great.
No, it's like it's
Because you
almost
can
the
just post
thing.
that, you can post those images and be like, look at what I found on them, look at this, but it's not really them, it's AI.
Right. AI, like when people talk about AI has ruined everything because it's ruins that fact of anonymity for people. It's starting to ruin the music industry because now you're literally just gonna sit there and have some fake person record, not even record, just make fake music. That's why like Britney Spears' team is trying to get her to make music. I guarantee you at some point they're not even going to put her in the mix anymore because she said she won't do music anymore. They're literally just going to have an AI computer sit there and like type in the lyrics
I
and they're
mean,
just going to have her sing it.
it's really dangerous
Have
because I've
her sing
seen
it.
on, I think I've seen on Instagram that they've used AI voices of celebrities to try and endorse products. I'm like, Instagram, how can you allow this? That's not really The Rock. That's not really, this person. I can't believe it, like what they will and which Instagram is part of Facebook, what they will and will like put out there, which is it's really dangerous.
Yeah, and to that point of movies, they're starting to let AI, they're trying to make it so that AI can eventually create movies. We know. Like, no, we do not need normal ass people creating movies. Like, there's a reason that people go to school for like go to film school and all this shit so that they can make amazing productions. We don't need like Peg who lives next door creating a movie script for everybody to see. No. it's gonna be
I,
awful.
I,
It's gonna be
I would
awful.
just say, like, I think what we need is to make sure that we still appreciate human creativity. It's good to have technology create things, but also make sure that we still embrace the human mind and what the human mind can create and what the human mind can produce. Being a model, being an actor, being a musician,
Yes.
because this is new territory. And I would say as we continue to embark, we need to make sure that there's proper things in place um, to make sure that it doesn't diminish what we as humans can do
Okay.
on that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which I don't know how we talked about everything from like being a model and trauma
Yeah.
to like
But
AI and like human rights. I'm sorry, I must have you on a tangent. I don't.
no, this is the thing. Since we're almost done, I'm gonna try and come up with like two questions to like close this out because I know we got like 10 minutes left. So like, okay, so I'm gonna choose one fun question and one like serious question. So I'll go with the
Oh my
serious
gosh.
question
Okay, I'll
first.
go with the serious question and I'm gonna condense it and then we'll go with the lighthearted question.
Okay.
All right.
So what are your thoughts on how the LGBT community is being treated today? On how the
What are my
LGBT community
thoughts?
is being treated?
What are my thoughts on the LGBT community and how they're being treated today? I would say that depends on what side of the coin you're on. I think if you are a gay man or a lesbian, we probably have it a lot better. Actually, I wouldn't say probably we have it a lot better than someone who is trans or someone who probably presents themselves to be a drag queen.
Yes.
Because of what's happened with, I think, drag shows cannot be performed in certain states now because of these laws they're putting into place. Which, if we really had each other's back, we'd be like, hey, this is not okay. But, you know, just like there's like I guess people say white privilege. There's certain privileges in gay. If you're maybe a white gay man or just a very masculine gay man, you're probably unaffected and don't care, perhaps,
Yes.
because you have that privilege, not care. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
But it does affect people who this is their livelihood because this is their community, and now you're saying that they cannot perform, or
Yes.
someone who is trans, or we're still like people that all of a sudden like, oh, well, this is like, I think I saw like because of my gym, I don't watch Fox News, but I see them talking about like sex changes and like I think ex-wife, behind husband's back allowed child to have sex change. I mean, it's just all these things where it's just like, look, these are two being trans and also this attack on drag queens, which I feel like came out of nowhere. Um, it's it's a different battle now, and
Yeah.
I hope people tune in because I would say that if someone really feels how they feel about themselves to be true, if they feel that they're a woman, who am I to tell them they're not what they are? But they're like, well, now you're telling them that it's okay for them to be a cat or a dog and let them act like a cat or a dog. Like, I think if you really want to address it, then you'll address it and then bring up like what is ethically correct. Don't just diminish it and keep going about your day. If you really want to take it seriously, talk about it openly and think like, what are the laws we have in place? What are the steps that you can take? And then go from there. Because in the UK, I'm not saying the UK has everything figured out, which they don't, but there are steps in
Right.
place that will allow you to have a sex change. You do actually have to have consent from both parents. You actually have to go through the process of you talking to a professional, a psychologist, that actually talks about how you're feeling, the process, the steps. It's a process. It's not just a
Right.
you know. But I would say that again maybe now because of media we're getting more talk about sex changes.
Yes.
Um, so I would say the gay community uh, portion is being treated better, while the other
Right.
portion it's still like an ongoing battle. And
Yes.
I hope that it's one that where we can be supportive of each other. Um, because it's really deadly and really like a pitfall in our community if we're like, that doesn't affect me, goodbye.
Yes, work.
'Cause
And by the way, yes. To be clear, before I ask this last question, yes, granted, I like that I kind of like the fact that you go on tangents, and I like, but it's like I do so many I love my interviews. Don't get me wrong, I love all of them, but it's like it's nice to be
I'm
able
the
to
serious
sometimes
one. I'm the serious one.
yeah, but it's nice to have those serious ones because it's like yes, I love asking people the non-serious questions of what's wall, but it's like if we're gonna have a point to go on, I'm gonna rather go towards that point than asking some shallow question like the last one I'm gonna ask, which is it's beautiful. It's beautiful to sometimes have a open conversation. So okay, so the last question: do people just assume you're a bottom because you have a fat ass?
I don't think I have a fat ass. I think it's the angle and I work on my butt. I think I got a butt, but you'd be surprised. I've been in like circuit parties and I'm just like, here I am in like a hot pink like swimsuit. I've got a fan. I think I'm giving off very baby spice bottom. And someone's been like made I don't know, I don't want to say an assumption, but was just asking if I would, perhaps be a little bit more dominant. I'm like, what? You see what I'm wearing, right? So I don't think it matters to people. I think some people just, when they see you, what they want out of you, they want. Because I was like, so I don't think I can be the role that you're wanting me to be.
See, it's very interesting
But I would say that in a
that
relationship, I would
yeah.
say this. I think it's called being a demisexual. In a relationship, I am able to be a top. That's because I love the person and I want the experience to be something they will enjoy, so I can. But that's only in a relationship.
See, this is the thing. Like to that point, people do assume one or the other. Like as someone who has a fat ass, 9 times out of 10, I just get asked to bottom, and it's like until very recently, I did enjoy it, and then all of a sudden, my friends with benefits, he was like, I don't know, he felt in the mood to bottom the one day, so he like all of a sudden like just went down on me and he started like sucking my dick, and then like all of a sudden without telling me, he just looped it
You're
up
gonna get in
and like
trouble for saying that. Is Instagram gonna let this happen? He performed a fellatio on you.
I've said this shit. Girl, there's one time that I talked about the first time I had my ass eaten was by a crackhead. So I mean, like, I'm pretty sure like anything can. I'm not a role model. Well, okay. To defend that story as we close out, I did not know he was on crack till we almost got to my apartment, and I drove a half an hour to get him. So it's like at that point, obviously,
Girl,
I was in my early 20s. Leave me alone.
that's a
It's not like I did this yesterday. I did this like 5 years ago. Like, but
I
anyway, so
mean,
then he just looped it up and sat on it, and then like all of a sudden, I enjoyed topping. So I'm like, so it's like he spent the night, and then the next day I wanted to top as well, and I'm like, and I'm thinking, you've created a monster, bitch. You shouldn't have done this with me. Like, if you didn't want this to happen, like,
but that means you have a connection piece. You felt like
yes,
you done it before, you enjoyed it with them. So that, yeah. So I mean, I would say, yeah, with me, it's really about a connection. If I feel like I'm in a relationship or there is a connection piece, then yeah. But I mean, I think I'm just, I know I'm clickbait. My job is to model something and be seductive, and I might just I do my best to be a little bit cheeky. But I would say hopefully it's like tasteful. Um, I think one time a brand sent me some stuff and they sent me images of what they wanted me to like take pictures. I'm like, you just want me to send pictures of me bending over, but like you don't even see my face. Like, how are they gonna know it's me? But one of my
What?
friends, I know, one of my friends, he got something from them and he's bending over and you can't see his face, but like I feel like I know it's him, but like I'm like that's different. Like he can do that. He has a fat ass. So, but I'm like, how are they gonna know it's me? Like it's just you just want me to like bend over, have the underwear there, and be like, oh yeah, by the way, that's me, Majestic Singh. I don't
Yeah.
know, I can't do that. But if people can, great. But like, maybe that's where I just don't have that edge.
See, my thing
Yeah,
is with I would say yours are yours are very tasteful. I've never looked at like pictures of yours and I thought I'm like, wow, that's like cross the line because it's like you look good. It's not literally like you're online like twerking in a video on Instagram where it's like
and if I
which
was,
is
that's okay, but it's not me.
yeah, it's like at that point it's like yes, I'm like to my point I also think about that where it's like you're having people twerking in thongs. It's like you're almost too porn anyway. Like why can't we just have porn on Instagram? Like if you're get which by the way, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to like not let people do that. Is absolutely right. I love some of the videos, but it's like why are we gonna draw these like weird lines? And I will
I
say
get it.
this because it's
Like, why are we drawing? Why are you drawing some weird lines for some people and not for others? But you're like, I get it.
it's like it's literally it's sexist because it's like women can
But
do
also,
anything.
there's still children on this app who are like under the age of 18. Who I'm just like, I can't believe you're seeing what you're seeing. Maybe that's why.
That's
But
wow.
I'm also like, you're
I
lying
never.
about your age. I can't believe you're lying. Like Instagram is like, they're lying. That person's not 18. They're really a 13-year-old.
Yeah, because it's
And
like
when I was 13, I was too busy pretending I was a Power Ranger jumping off the couch. I would see a guy in a swimsuit, but not the way I'm seeing him in the swimsuits now.
it's because like in some ways we're in because
Information
the
overload age.
it's not only information overload age. So okay, I've never asked you this. I've said I'm almost 30. So you're how old? I'm just trying to like get.
You can never ask a gay man their age. I'm in my 30s as well.
Well, yeah, that's my thing. It's like I grew up in the like Bush conservative era where it's like Janet Jackson showed her boob on or Justin Timberlake ripped off a piece of her clothing and like her boob was shown for 5 seconds and the world like flipped out.
Yeah,
Britney
but she
kissed
got in
President
trouble for
Trump.
that, and Justin Timberlake got off easy.
Well, don't, believe me, it's like yeah, that was the thing where it's like she was the one who took all the blame. It's like, but he's the one who did it. It's like
Yeah.
she's taking all
No,
this blame and she was just there.
true.
It's it's
So
like the it's like the Britney and Madonna thing when they like kissed and everyone was like all of a sudden like outraged. It's like
yeah, she also Christina. Christina, like people,
which everyone
half
forgets.
the
Yes,
people forget, but she also Chris. It should have been a three-way kiss. I'm just that way.
it was. They showed Justin Timberlake having a non-reaction, like
Mm-mm-mm.
mess. Anyway,
But that's but
I am gonna let you go because like obviously clearly I love talking to you always. I could literally talk to you for hours. Like
thank you, pleasure
yeah.
always.
All right. And with that being said, this is Gay Out the City. I'm your host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you enjoyed.